now with NBA playoffs. But before we get into everything, I want to welcome y'all to episode 309 of Sports on the Hill podcast, coming to you live, breaking down the week that was in sports, DC sports, and all sports related. As I said, I'm CP3. Got my man Robbie G. How you doing tonight, good sir?
I'm doing good. Can you hear me all right? I'm doing
Oh yeah,
things.
you coming in loud and clear.
Awesome. Doing a couple of things real quick. We're live on Twitch. We're on Carol's page as well. We'll go live on the show page in just a second when we start the actual show and recording. We're starting a little new thing where Carol and I can banter for a moment or two, have a breather, and then start the show instead of it being like a rush, because we're streaming on 3 platforms at once and it becomes a lot. But I appreciate everyone for tuning in. Let me get the Facebook going right now, and then we can start the show. But I'm happy that we are all here today. We got a lot of great sports to talk about. All right, so we're gonna do 5 seconds of pause, and we're gonna then start the show. I think that we are live now on Facebook. There's always a momentary delay. Oh wait, did it not? Hold on. Gotta love it when it fails. Hold on. It says it's recording. Let's see. Is it actually recording or not? Are we live? We are live. Okay, great. All right, well, welcome to episode 309 of Sports on the Hill podcast. I'm joined, like always, by Carol. Carol, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good, Robbie. Can't complain. Got a lot going on, but all in all, it's a beautiful day. We got some good sports to talk about. The Nats actually had a winning week, so we got a positive first time this season, and got some good playoffs and hockey and basketball. And yeah, it's just a good day, man. Just a good day.
Yeah, I'm excited. We've got a couple of different live sporting events going on. And I want to thank all of my friends on Twitch for tuning in. We've got Champ and Carly over there, and everyone on Facebook as well. Got a lot of exciting sports to cover. The Miami Heat game against the Knicks, it's getting a little bit tighter. It's 79-71. The Heat are still up in that one. We'll break that down with our NBA roundtable. We got Tim and Arun already here to talk about that. We've also got a live hockey game. The Vegas Golden Knights are playing the Edmonton Oilers. That series is tied 1-1. This game is in Edmonton, and it's the series is tied 1-1. The game is tied 1-1. We've got 6:35 left in the first period in that game. And if you're on Twitch, you'll see live scoreboards and updates on there as well. We also have Scorebot now in on Twitch, so live scoring updates will happen in chat, as well as you can play Pokemon games as well. So lots of fun, different stuff to do on that end. We got Carol's feed as well. So we're starting off with our NBA talk. Then I'll let Carol talk about the week for the Nats, and they actually did pretty well this week. And then after that, we're going to bring Champ in, and we're going to do an abbreviated XFL championship preview. We'll also talk about the wonderful interview that Carol did earlier this week that you can definitely check out on SportsOTHP.com. So lots of fun stuff to break down. Carol, I fill my glass of water, but Carol, let people know a little bit about your interview you did at the top here, about what you were able to do and what you were talking to Janae about at the start of the podcast, and then we'll also break it down a little bit more during the XFL talk.
No doubt, no doubt. Last week we had our annual Commanders off-season special where we broke down the draft picks and the free agent acquisitions that were acquired in the off-season. And we had a special guest, the XFL Coach of the Year, DC Defenders head coach, XFL North champion, DC Defenders. I keep on forgetting to add that part. Had Coach Reggie Barlow on for a quick 10, 15-minute interview, just to get some insight on the DC Defenders and the upcoming matchup versus the Arlington Renegade this Sunday, coming to you live on ESPN around 8. And we laid the groundwork to, have another interview to delve deeper into his career, going back to his playing days, him getting a Super Bowl championship back with the 2002 Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and his coaching career, the impressive work that he did with Virginia State and Alabama State, and then being a XFL head coach and general manager of the best team in the league, looking to solidify that by winning the championship this Sunday. And that's a huge feather in his cap to accomplish that if that's what gets done this Sunday. And we definitely will have him back on for a more depth interview breaking down everything DC Defender related.
That's awesome. It was a great interview. The 15 minutes goes by super fast. Again, you can catch it. It's on the audio podcast on our website, sportsothp.com. We also have Carol's video up there. And then Carol did a great cut down where he chopped it up just to that smaller segment on his Instagram page. And if you want his social media links, you can catch all of those either on our website under our Team Sports OTHP link or on the social medias link. And
look like I've frozen up on my end, Robbie, son of a bitch.
Did your feed end?
Nah, I look like I'm frozen on all of my feeds though. I'm trying to see if I can fix it, but right about now it's not looking good. Might have to restart mine. Oh, there we go. There we go. Okay, I had to close something real quick. So yeah, we good to go. Froze up for a little while, but we're back good to go.
Sounds good. Yeah, the XFL championship is on a Saturday night. So that'll be
Sunday night. Sunday night.
No, it's Saturday.
I thought it was Sunday.
No. They did something that the NFL is stupid to do, and they actually, NFL is always like Sunday, Sunday, Sunday. No, it's championships on Saturday for sure. Because I remember seeing it at the beginning of the year, and I was like, "That's brilliant." Saturday night.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to rush home because I'll be at the Nats game Saturday.
Yeah, for sure. I'll get you the exact time right now, but I remember thinking that, man, that's smart. I know that everyone loves Super Bowl Sunday, but like, isn't it better to do it on Saturday and then you can chill out afterwards? Because I think so. But yeah, hold on. Top events, Seymour, XFL Championship Saturday, 8 p.m. ABC.
So it's 7?
8 p.m.
Oh, 8. Okay, I should be able to make it back home by then, hopefully.
Yeah.
I'll set the DVR.
Yeah, for sure. So the 9-1 Defenders, 4-6 Renegades. But I mind you, like when the Valor won the championship a couple years back, they were a team with very few wins that no one gave them any credit to, and they won the championship that year. So, the Defenders need to not look over them, but we'll look into that at when the time comes. We've got our NBA roundtable with us. I'm going to introduce them real quick. We got Tim. How are you doing tonight, Tim?
Oh, I'm doing great. Just watching this Knicks Heat game. It's getting pretty tight. So
yeah,
should be a good
now a 4-point game. I kind of thought the game was over when I did like an Instagram preview before. And then they just drained a 3, it seems, to go up by 7.
The Heat keep a little distance every time it gets really close.
Yeah, but it's a good game, and so we'll definitely break this one down in all the series. We've got our stats guy, Arun, joining us as well. How are you doing tonight, Arun? Oh, I don't hear you, Arun. Are you double muted? You're not muted listed here. I don't know. Maybe the mic is.
So I'm not the only one having some technical difficulties.
He's like frozen in the dog pile.
I see him.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, there we go.
There goes a room.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm doing well. I did like a long run just prior to the show, so hopefully it'll show.
Yeah, your volume is still a little bit low, Arun, so I'm not sure if it's further away from you from normal or if the mic just needs to be turned up. But yeah, let's go break down these series real fast. We can Carol, do you have it on a view that I can switch to show stats? Is that okay?
Yeah, it should be good to go.
Okay. Let me just change my participants and swap screens, make this a co-host. And we're gonna go here and share screen.
All right,
Button once. And then hold on. My OBS froze. So 1 second, let me fix that. Now we've all had technical difficulties. I hate that it does this randomly. Hold on here. That's a cool way to. Oh no, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good on my end.
You can see it. All right.
Oh yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
All right. Well, here I'll pull up the scoreboard for this live game. I'll let Tim talk about this series real quick. Hold on, let me pull it up here. So far, so in the game one, the Heat won 108 to 101 over the Knicks, and then the series shifted a bit. The Knicks won the second one, 111 105. And then game three, the Heat won 105 to 86. And right now the Heat are winning 88 to 78. And while I figure out how to fix this screen, Tim, why don't you talk a little bit about your thoughts on this series so far?
Yeah, for sure. I think most people probably pick the Knicks in this series, but it's really looking bad for them right now. And I don't just mean this game. Obviously, the Knicks, they're the higher seed. They have the home court. They had a better regular season than the Heat, but despite the injuries that the Heat have had to Oladipo and to Tyler Hero, they really have looked like the better team pretty much every game. I know the Knicks took a game and it's still 2-1 and they have a chance in this one, but Jimmy Butler just looks like the best player in the series. Clearly, the Heat just have a lot more playoff pedigree and a lot more experience, even with their injuries. And I think you kind of just throw the seeds out the window. It's been a long time since the Knicks have had a deep playoff run. I don't think they've even been to the Eastern Finals for since we were little kids, basically. So it's been a special season for them. I think a lot of their fans assume they would at least win this series, but just something's in the water in Miami. I mean, between the Heat and Panthers winning as 8 seeds, and then they had like a big Formula One race this weekend. They just have some good vibes, and they're upsetting teams in every sport. So I think they just look good right now, and it's sad for the Knicks because they've been starved for success, and they really should win this series, but I don't think they have enough offense. They're a really good defensive team, but the Heat just are able to score more, and they have more balanced scoring. Like in the first half today, all 10 players that they played scored, which is pretty impressive. They have a great coach too. So
I have a scoring update. The Golden Knights just scored a beautiful goal on the Oilers where they took it from one end of the blue line where they took the puck. I had a great passing play and then another great passing play down low right across the goal mouth for a tip in for the goal. They take a 2-1 lead, and it was in the final minute of this first period. So that's definitely a huge momentum for the Golden Knights, over the Oilers here in this first game in Edmonton. But I agree with you, Tim. It's interesting watching this series evolve. I just don't know. The Heat seem to have been there before, and that experience seems to be helping them a little bit. Arun, what are some of your thoughts about this?
Yeah, I think after game two, I was kind of thinking, even though the Knicks won game two, Jimmy Butler didn't play, and it was still a close game. And after that, I kind of thought Miami was in the driver's seat. And Jimmy Butler was kind of laughing at the end of game two, even though the Knicks won. It was still like Miami could have walked away with a 2-0 series lead. And because the Knicks didn't really take care of business, I was thinking that Miami should be favored to win this series. Remember, me and you went to that Miami Heat Wizards game, and Miami didn't even have Butler, Hero, or Bam Adebayo, and the Wizards only beat the Heat by 1 point. And then I think later in the season, the Wizards lost a one-possession game to the Knicks, and the Knicks were full strength. So just, I think it's a testament that the Heat are just a really well-coached team. Thibodeau may be getting a little bit exposed in this series, especially since like guys off the bench haven't really been playing well. Quickly kind of struggled, and he was a Sixth Man of the Year candidate. Hart is not. He was playing well in the series against Cleveland, but Spoelstra's like let him have the open 3-point shot. He hasn't been able to convert, and I don't think Randall has been great other than Game 2 when Butler was out. Brunson has been kind of solid, but he needs to be a little bit better, especially to pick up the slack of his teammates. And Miami's they're probably were like the sixth best team in the East. They lost the play-in tournament to Atlanta, which may have been a little bit fluky. So they were, if there was no play-in tournament, they would have been the 7th seed. But Brooklyn, after the Kevin Durant trade, was worse than them. So Miami picked it up at the end of the season. They were one of the worst three-point shooting teams. But in the playoffs so far, they're shooting 48% from three-point range. So I don't think the Knicks are going to win this series. Things can change, but I think Miami's should be favored to win going forward.
Yeah. Miami, as Tim was talking about earlier, keeps on pulling away. So there's 11:39 left in the fourth quarter here. Miami has a 90-81 lead, but still within striking distance. But this obviously is a huge and pivotal game in the sense that going up 3-1 would be very different, obviously, than going back 2-2. So the Knicks really need to find a way if they want to steal back home court to dig deep. Now they're down 10 points because there's another free throw, but we'll see how the Knicks do here with this possession. They pull it back out. They try to drive it in, kick it out again for the shot, and it's no good, and it's a rebound. So it's tough going so far. But let's talk about some of these other series real fast. We'll talk about the other. Well, let's talk about the other one on the Eastern side first. I think that's probably the easier way to do it. So the 76ers won game 1, 119-115. Then the Celtics came back and just dominated game 2, 121-87. And in game 3, Boston took the lead in the series again, up 114 to 102. That was on Friday. But then the 76ers in overtime just barely beat the Celtics by 1 point, 116-115 to tie the series at 2. Tim, I'll start with you. What are some of your thoughts on this series?
This series has been really interesting. Just a lot of close games, especially yesterday and game 1 were really exciting. I think the Celtics are a better team, and they'll probably win this series in 7 is my prediction. But the X factor really is James Harden for the 76ers, because in game 1 and game 4, he was great, and the 76ers were barely able to win, but he was really clutch at the end. And games 2 and 3, he was pretty terrible. Didn't score enough, missed a lot of shots, very inefficient. And so I just think because he's the second scorer on the 76ers and they really need him, and his record in the playoffs isn't great, and Doc Rivers' record in the playoffs isn't great besides his one championship early. That's why I still pick the Celtics in 7. But this it's one of the better series definitely this playoffs. And on the Boston side, they really should have won yesterday. They kind of choked, despite they were losing most of the game, but they took a pretty commanding lead in the fourth quarter and just kind of choked it in regulation and overtime. So, but I do think, like I said, they're the better team. They have Tatum, Brown, a really balanced team, good bench, good. Their coaches, I think, getting better, even though he's new. But yeah, just I'm really excited for the end of this series, but again, I just think the Celtics are slightly better.
Yeah. Arun, what are some of your thoughts? Is there a game that you want to go more in depth and I can pull up stats for?
Probably just the last game. James Harden, I think, was like something like 16 or 23 from the field, and he had 42 points. It was kind of crazy. And Harden, the previous game, I think he started like 2 of 12 from the field, and this game he's on fire. And as Tim alluded to, they were winning for most of the game, and then the Celtics made a run, and they had, I think, like a 5-point lead with 2 minutes remaining. But I think Marcus Smart, for some reason, he's like too much involved in the offense, like in the clutch situations. It's getting like a little bit of like Bradley Beal vibes in the clutch, and they have Brown and Tatum, so not sure why Smart is initiating so much of their offense. But it kind of bit them at the end, and like to tie the game, they could have given up a 2 to Embiid, but they let a wide open 3, and that by Harden, and who's already on fire, and then the Sixers took the lead. Celtics didn't call timeout, and then the Celtics actually kind of ran their offense late, and Tatum got to the rim and passed it out to Smart, and he hit the 3 that would have won the game, but the Celtics ran out of time. So it's just some bad late execution. The 2 close games the Celtics have lost, but the other 2 games the Celtics have blown them out. So I think the Celtics are the favorites. I'm leaning more Celtics in 6, but anything is possible if Harden plays like this. But I think the Celtics, like game 2, they'll probably respond with a much better effort, and I think they'll win game 5. And I think they have a good chance to close it on the road in game 6 in Philadelphia.
Yeah, makes sense. Let's take a look at the other side of the bracket. We're going to go back here, and we're going to talk about this Nuggets Suns one first, and then we'll do a little bit of a preview over the second half of this doubleheader that's coming on tonight on TNT. This series is between the Nuggets and the Suns, and this series, just like the other one, has kind of gone back and forth. In game 1, the Nuggets beat the Suns 125-107. In game 2 is closer. It's a 10-point victory, 87-97. In game 3, it shifted to the Suns, both in location, and they outplayed them, outscored them 121-114. And then it was a really close game yesterday. They beat them 129-124. Tim, any thoughts on this series?
Yeah, definitely. This series to me, it's really kind of under the radar. You have the big marquee series, especially in the West, is that Lakers-Warriors series. Then in the East, you have New York, Philly, Boston, Miami, all big markets playing really tight series, earlier in the night so more people can watch. I feel like this is not getting a lot of attention until that, obviously, last night. That game really was the marquee game of the series, not only to have a really close, hard-fought game, but obviously you have Jokic pushing the Suns owner, and you have that ruckus on the sideline. So that kind of overshadowed the game. But I would say that story alone, and the fact that he wasn't suspended but he was fined, probably is getting more attention than the actual series. But I think it's going to change. And the Nuggets look so good games 1 and 2 at home. I really thought this might be a short series. And they were in really every game, even the last 2. I just think Phoenix obviously plays a lot better at home. They have a lot to prove with the trades, and with they kind of choked in the last playoffs. Durant was great. It's really hard to predict this series now. I'm leaning Suns now, probably in 7. I think partially because the Nuggets, as a franchise, have never even been to the NBA Finals. I think despite being the 1 seed, they're like the most overlooked 1 seed ever. And I just don't really like them in a big game against Booker and Durant, even if it is in Denver. So that's my prediction now. But yeah, I mean, just the push or the non-push is kind of like the big story right now.
Right. Did he get ejected or just a single technical?
Single technical and nothing else
Yeah.
during the game.
I think that's
Yeah.
the right call, though. I've watched the
Yeah.
replays of it, and I don't see like he got mad because he got touched first, and he brushed him aside. He didn't punch him. You know what I mean? Like he just pushed him from touching him. It's funny because as we're talking
Yeah,
about
one arm too. It's not like violent. And the owner said, don't suspend him.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that's what the owner said. That's good. And I think that that's the right thing for the owner to say. So it's just funny because as we were saying that, a Knick player just went diving out of bounds into the crowd and just like slammed onto some poor woman sitting courtside, which is definitely the danger of sitting courtside because there's no glass in basketball. So but yeah, anyway, so I just thought that was kind of funny as we were talking about that happened. The game is pretty close. It's still 87-95. The Knicks just actually stole the ball. They're going up the court and they score and they cut it to a 6-point lead with 7:34 left in the fourth. So there's still a possibility for a comeback here. Arun, any thoughts on this series?
Yeah, it's kind of like I had similar thoughts to Tim, just like approaching kind of game 3 that like I thought it was going to be a shorter series just based on how the first 2 games turned out, and Chris Paul got injured in the middle of game 2 and really felt like the Suns were like really short depth wise, but they've managed to pull it together at home. Shamit, I think he had like 19 points or something in game 4. In game 3, Durant and Booker had a combined 86 points, and the record for 2 players in the playoffs is 88 points. So, that was a big reason why they won game 3. Game 4, I think they had like 82 or something, maybe like something pretty high, but if they play well, obviously they have a really good chance, and they're running a really fast-paced offense, and it seems like they're playing most of the game, and they seem to make up a lot of ground when Jokic takes his breather in the second quarter and the fourth quarter. I have a feeling this series is going to go 7 games. I think Denver plays better with their back against the wall, so it wouldn't really surprise me if they lost game 5 at home, but then they managed to pull out game 6. And I think because of their home court advantage, I think Denver has a slight edge. And they are a bad road team anyways. They are below 500 on the road. So it does make sense that they lost the 2 games at Phoenix. But it was a little bit disheartening that they didn't really slow down one of Durant or Booker. And even in game 2, Durant just missed wide open shots, I felt like. They need to do a better job defensively, and they have KCP from last year's Wizards team was a good defensive player, and some guys off the bench like Shannon Brown. So I think it's probably going to go 7 games.
Yeah. All right. Let's get, just for timing purposes, let's get into this last series. So this game is actually the 10 o'clock game tonight between the Warriors and the Lakers, with the Lakers up 2-1 in this series. So the way this series has panned out, they won the first game 117-112. And then on Thursday, the Warriors came back and tied the series. This game, remember, the Lakers were a team that had to play in to get to this spot. We're able, the Warriors are obviously the favored team and defending champion. So the Warriors win the game 2, 127-100, just an absolute blowout. But then game 3, the Lakers come back and they end up blowing out the Warriors on Saturday, which sort of leads to this interesting matchup, which I think will be much closer tonight. Again, that game starts in about 25 minutes. We'll have scoring updates in the second hour from this as well. But we'll start off with you, Tim. The Lakers are playing better than I expected, and they're now a very dangerous team.
Yeah, definitely. The Lakers were clearly, one of the best playing teams ever. I know it's only been a few years, but they are a much different team since the trade deadline because they changed their roster a ton. They kind of fleeced the Wizards by getting Rui. He's been great in the playoffs, scoring a lot. LeBron's still, playing great. Definitely not washed up like Dylan Brooks said, or old. Yeah, they just look really good. It's just hard to ever count the Warriors out because I thought that they were going to lose to the Kings when they went down 2-0, but they managed to come back, and that Kings team is really good. I just still could see the Warriors winning this in 7, but the Lakers look like they could win the series and win the title. They're playing that great, and I think Austin Reeves is playing really well because he wants to get paid. So they have some motivated guys with the chip on their shoulder. It's just, again, like, you can't really pick against the Warriors until someone ends their dynasty. So maybe it's this year, but it's just really tough to beat them in an elimination game. With Steve Kerr, he's always making adjustments, and then the Warriors just come up clutch when it matters.
Yeah. Just a little programming update. We're going to switch our XFL talk to the end of this show. There's just a lot to break down, and so we just want to make sure that we fit it all in. We're going to have Carol's Nats talk next, and then we'll have our special guest be joining us for our NHL roundtable to start the 10 o'clock hour. So then XFL will be again at the very end. It'll be an abbreviated segment. So I appreciate Champ for sticking around for that. I just wanted to put that out there. So it's been a close and exciting game again in this basketball game. And there's just a foul here called. The Knicks are right now within 8 points with about 6 left in it. So it's still, it's a close game, but the Knicks need to mix some ground up real quickly. Arun, your thoughts quickly on this Lakers series?
Yeah, I think this series is just flips from one game to the other. Huge blowout in game 1 by the Lakers, or not in a blowout. It was kind of a blowout in the fourth quarter until the Warriors made it close in the fourth quarter and they went on a run. And then game 2, the Warriors just ran pick and roll over and over again with Steph Curry, and Klay Thompson was able to knock down 3-point shots. Even though Rui was on fire, he couldn't guard Klay. And then game 3 looked like it started out a similar way. Klay Thompson started off well, but then he also kind of faded throughout the stretch of the game. JaMychal Green, who was great in game 2, missed his corner threes. Draymond Green got in foul trouble in the second quarter. Probably was the turning point of the game. The both of the games that the Warriors have lost, it's been a huge free throw disparity. Warriors need to find a way to get to the line somehow. Even in the regular season, that kind of bore out that the Lakers got to the free throw line more. And it's hard to say, they're just weird adjustments that the Warriors and their backs were against the wall. The last series, they were down 0-2. They won 2 games at home, and they won game 7 on the road. This feels like the Warriors will throw everything. I probably lean Warriors in game 4, but they need to win consecutive games, obviously, if they want to win this series. And the Lakers, along with the Miami Heat, have been the play-in teams probably of the best 2 play-in teams ever, and they might meet in the NBA Finals at this rate.
Yeah. Any final thoughts on this series before we take one last look at the current game, Tim?
No, I just hope tonight is closer because 2 bad games in a row, even though this is I think this is the marquee matchup that all the media wanted, because just so many stars and history. It's we need some closer games.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Tim and Arun, I look forward to next week having you guys back on to break down sort of the conclusions of these series. And I think that all of them would be over, if I remember correctly, before the next week. I'm trying to remember when the last one of this series is. I think no, there could be a game 7 between the Heat and the Knicks if it goes that far next Monday. So and we're gonna have hopefully Davey from the Sandwich Show joining the NBA Roundtable next week, as he's going to give his thoughts, being from LA, and how the Lakers end up doing in this series as well. So we're having some Twitch guests join us for Hockey Talk this week, and we're going to have one join us for the basketball segment next week, hopefully, if all goes according to plan. But the timing for the show is still to be determined. It depends kind of if the defenders are able to win. As if they are, then they're going to be first, and then we'll move everything around based on that. So hopefully that's the case. But all right, Tim, any final things before we let you go?
No, it's good hanging out, and hopefully next week we have a lot of good endings of the series to discuss.
Yeah, for sure. Arun, any final thoughts before I let you go?
Yeah, Scott Foster is officiating Game 4 of Warriors Lakers. So conspiracy theorists think the Warriors are going to win.
Okay, that's interesting. Vegas is on the power play. Minute left of their power play. They are up 2-1 early second period in that game. And right now the Knicks are still behind 91-99, but they are shooting 2 free throws right now with 4:40 left. So we'll give some scoring updates on those NBA games after Carol does his Nats talk. But I appreciate you both for joining us, and we'll have you back on next week to continue the playoff talk.
Sure. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
All right.
Carol, we're gonna switch my graphics. Hold on to the Nets talk, which is somewhere over here. Here it is, baseball. Off this one and that one. And yes. All right, Carol. I'm gonna restock my water real fast, but you can break down the Nats week in the next 15 minutes, and I'll be joining you for the end of it with some scoring updates.
All right, sounds good. Sounds good. Last week, the Nats actually had a winning week for the first time this season. They won 4, lost 3, had 7 games last week, won 3 out of 4 versus the Cubs, and ended up losing 2 out of 3 to the Diamondbacks. Should have won at least 2 out of 3, but we'll get in that more into the breakdown. The last 10 games, they split 5-5. They're currently sitting 14-20. They're just about to start the first pitch. They're at San Francisco for a 3-game set, and then they have a 3-game set versus the Mets, as I mentioned earlier. I'll be at that game on Saturday, the full 5 start, checking it out. Probably go live, check out some live baseball. I haven't been to a Nets game in a while, so tune in for that. But let's get into the week that was, as I said, a winning week. Had some good offense. Bullpen faltered a couple of times, but all in all, they were over 500, so it's a good week. Can't complain. Week started out a little slow with a 5-1 loss to the Cubs. Drew Smiley earned the victory. That put him at 3-1. He went 7 innings, giving up 6 hits, 1 run with 2 strikeouts and no walks. Mackenzie Gore took the loss. That dropped him to 3-2. He went 4 innings, giving 7 hits, 4 runs with 4 strikeouts and 2 walks. The lone run was a solo home run by Lane Thomas in the bottom of the second, his first of the season. In the second game, the Nets got revenge by beating them 4-1. Hunter Harvey earned his first victory of the season. He went an inning in the third, giving up 1 hit, no runs with a strikeout and a walk. Keegan Thompson took the loss. That dropped him to 1-2. He went a third of an inning, giving up 4 hits, 3 runs with no walks or strikeouts. And Kyle Finnegan earned his 6th save of the season, going 1 inning, giving up 1 hit, no runs with a strikeout and no walks. The bottom of the third, Luis Garcia had an RBI single, making it 1-0. Bottom of the 7th, CJ Abrams had an RBI single, making it 2-1. And Call had a 2-run RBI double, making it 4-1, which was the final score, and that was in the bottom of the 7th also. The third game of the series was a 2-1 victory. Nats, it was a tight game. The Nats played solid defense, and the bullpen stood up this game. Carl Edwards Jr. earned his first victory of the season. He went 1 inning, giving up no hits, no runs with a strikeout and a walk. Adbart Alonze, I hope I say that right, dropped to 1-1. He went 2/3 of an inning, giving up 3 hits, 1 run, with no strikeouts and no walks. And Kyle Finnegan earned his 7th save of the season, going 1 inning, giving up 2 hits, no runs, with no strikeouts or walks. At the bottom of the second, Dominic Smith had a ground out RBI, which made it 1-0. And in the bottom of the 7th, CJ Abrams broke the tie with the RBI single, making it 2-1, which was the final score. And the 4th game of the series, the Nats was going for the win and found the way to win the game 4-3. Kyle Finnegan earned his first victory of the season. That puts him at 1-1. He went 1 inning, giving up 1 hit, no runs, with 2 strikeouts and a walk. Brad Baumberger took the loss, dropped him to 0-1. He gave up 1 hit and 1 run. Bottom of the second, Lane Thomas had a 3-run home run. And in the bottom of the 9th, Alex Call had a solo home run walk-off to break the tie and win the game and the series for the Nationals, 3 out of 4 versus the Cubs. And then off to Arizona for a road trip against the Diamondbacks. And I must say I was impressed with Arizona because we've been watching Arizona flounder out there in the desert for years, making errors and striking out in position with runners in scoring position and chances to take the lead in the game, but never could get over that hump. 2 out of 3 of the games in this series, well, all 3 games, they put up a good fight and won 2 out of 3 of those games. The first game was a 3-1 loss. Merrill Kelly earned his 3rd victory of the season. I put him at 500. He's 3-3 now. He went 7 innings, giving up 4 hits, 1 run, 10 strikeouts, and 1 walk. Josiah Gray, once again, after 2 back-to-back wins with run support, once again, he's on the short end of the stick, only getting 1 run of run support, drops into 2-5. He went 5 innings, giving up 7 hits, 3 runs, 6 strikeouts, and 2 walks. And Andrew Chafin, I'm sorry, I couldn't read my own hand right, earned his 5th save of the season, going 1 inning, giving up no hits, no runs, with 2 strikeouts and no walks. At the top of the 1st, Luis Garcia had a solo home run, and that accounted for the lone offense of the Nats that game. The second game was a lot more entertaining. The Nats fought back, took the lead late, but the bullpen, unfortunately, I got to put this one on Kyle Finnegan. I'm still not sold on him as the closer, even though he has 7 saves. They were able to come back from 4 down in the top of the 8th, put up 5 runs, and on 1 pitch, Finnegan gave up a solo home run, tying the game, and I believe it was 3 batters later, gave up the walk-off hit for the Nats to lose 8-7. Winner of the game for the Diamondbacks was Miguel Castro, his first win of the season. That puts him at 1-0. He went a third of an inning with a clean scorecard, no hits, runs, strikeouts, or walks. Kyle Finnegan took the loss, dropped him to 1-2. He went a third of an inning, giving up 2 hits, 2 runs, no strikeouts, and 2 walks. The top of the 4th, Ruiz had a 2-run RBI double, taking the lead for the Nats, making it 2-1. Then can't reach my handwriting. Solo home run by that Ruiz? Yeah, I think Ruiz, that was a big game that he had. Yeah, solo home run by Ruiz, making it putting the Nats down 3. And Vargas had a 2-run RBI single in the top of the 9th, not the 8th, I'm sorry, it was the 9th when they mounted to come back, had a 2-run RBI single, making the game 6-5. And then Lane Thomas hit a 2-run home run, making it 7-6 in the top of the 9th. And as I mentioned, Kyle Finnegan faltered in the bottom of the 9th and gave up 2 runs for the final score of 8-7. Then the Nats tried to salvage the series and not get swept. And this was another game where they were down and found a way to come back. But this time they were able to hold on,
Carol,
win the game. Yo,
Real
what's
quick,
going on, Robbie? You got a live update for us?
I do actually in the Nats. They just started their game and they're up now 1-0.
Yes, I saw was it Joey Meneses with an RBI?
Yeah, so I unfortunately don't have it up, I'll be totally honest, because I'm watching the 2 playoff games. But what's great about having a score bot on Twitch is the Twitch bot just told me. So that's kind of cool. So yay for a bot to help us with our jobs. So
That's a good way to start off the series with the versus the Giants. Get an early run and hopefully get some solid pitching and some run support and keep on tacking on runs and start this road series out the right way. But getting back to the last game of the Arizona series, Erasmo Ramirez got the victory. That put him at 2-1. He went an inning in the third, giving him 1 hit, no runs, with no strikeouts or walks. Miguel Castro took the loss. That dropped him to 1-1. He went 1 inning, giving him 3 hits, 3 runs with 1 strikeout and no walks. And Hunter Harvey earned the save, his first save of the season. He went 1 inning, giving him no hits, no runs with 1 strikeout and 1 walk. At the top of the first, Alex Call had an RBI single, making it 1-0. At the top of the fifth, Lane Thomas had a ground out RBI, making it 3-2 at that point. Luis Garcia then tied the game with the RBI single, scoring Thomas, making it 3-3. In the top of the seventh, Kyber Ruiz had a fielder's choice RBI, which made it Nets down by 3. Then Joey Meneses came up with an RBI single, scoring a runner. I forgot Ruiz was struck out. I didn't get the player that scored. That made it 7-5. Nets still down 2 runs. Then Vargas had a ground out, scoring Stone Garrett, which made it 7-6. And then Joey Meneses, man of the hour, top of the 8th, 3-run home run, making it 9-7. And the Nets hold on behind Hunter Harvey's clean, no hits, no runs, 1 strikeout and 1 walk. 9th inning appearance to salvage the week and give them above 500. And ironically, I was doing an At the Bar Radio live show, and they went down 7-3. And I was talking trash about them, so they could have. They came out of Chicago winning 3 out of 4. They just had to win 1 out of 3 against Arizona to have an above 500 week, and they were going to find a way to come in under 500. And then I look up, and then they find a way to win the game in the top of the 9th. So I don't know if they was listening, but yes, the Nets had a winning week and starting off this series the right way. I believe I just saw another update that Dominic Smith singles to score Luis Garcia to now make it a 2-0 lead. So the Nets are starting off the series the right way, getting some early offense, which is something they desperately have been needing lately. And it's good to see they're starting out the right way. As I mentioned the upcoming games, but I'll go over them again real quick. They're at San Francisco for a 3-game set, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Monday and Tuesday are 9:45 start Eastern, and Wednesday is a 3:45 start Eastern. Then they come back home to face the Mets for a Friday, Saturday, Sunday matchup. Friday is a 7:05 start. Saturday, the game that I will be attending, will be a 4:05 start, and Sunday is a 1:35 start. So, yeah, after the Saturday game, we're going to have to rush home to get here for the XFL championship game. I didn't realize that they moved it from Sunday to Saturday. I think you muted, Robbie.
I am muted. All right, got more scoring updates. So the first one was a Joey Meneses single to right with Luis Garcia to third, and Lane Thomas scored. And the second one, Dominic Smith single to left center. Joey Meneses scored. Luis Garcia Meneses to second. Luis Garcia scored, and then Alex called double to deep right center. Dominic Smith to third, and Joey Meneses then scored that one. So that's how we got to our 3 runs, and we got somebody on second and third with 2 outs now. So, I wish that both these hockey and then games weren't so exciting, or I'd put that on. But I'm happy to see that we're up 3-0, and I appreciate the good early start to that game. All right, Carol. Any more thoughts on the Nats, or do we want to shift gears?
Yeah, we can go ahead and shift gears. I mean, like I said, they had a winning week for the first time all season, so hopefully they can build off of that. Look like they, got some momentum in this game. Hopefully the pitching, holds up, and they continue to score and can get a victory and go for the series win tomorrow, and then possibly the sweep the day after that.
Yeah, I'm gonna talk a little bit of NBA for just a minute here, because we've got the final minute of this Miami Knicks game. I just want to give a quick little scoring update. Miami is up 109 to 101 over the Knicks. There's about 10.7 seconds left, so it looks like Miami is going to hold on to get that. Vegas is up 2-1 over Edmonton here with 12:43 left in the second period. Oh, and they score again right as I mentioned that, and now Vegas is up 3-1 over the Edmonton Oilers, which is a bit of a bummer because I have to admit I was rooting for Edmonton in this series. Let me switch up some of the graphics real quickly, and we can put up our hockey graphic. Take down this NBA one real fast, and with that